I was standing in line at the grocery store when my phone buzzed with a message from a number I didn't recognize. Thought you should know what your wife does on Tuesday nights. Below it was a photo that made my stomach drop through the floor. Lauren, my wife of 9 years, sitting across a candlelit table from Derek Paulson, my business partner. Her hand was on his, their faces close enough to share breath. The timestamp read last Tuesday, 8:47 p.m. The same Tuesday she'd told me she was at her book club. I stood there frozen, holding a gallon of milk while the cashier called, "Next!" for what was probably the third time. The woman behind me cleared her throat impatiently. I stepped out of line and walked straight to my truck, leaving the groceries behind. My hands shook as I zoomed in on the photo. There was no mistaking it. Lauren wore the blue dress I'd bought her for our anniversary last month. Derek had on his expensive watch, the one he'd shown off at our last business meeting. The restaurant looked like Marcello's, that upscale Italian place downtown that required reservations weeks in advance. I sat in the parking lot for 20 minutes, staring at that photo. 9 years. We had 2 kids, Emma, 7, and Tyler, 5. We had a mortgage, 2 car payments, and a timeshare in Florida we'd just bought. We had family photos on every wall and a vacation to Disney World planned for next month. And she was holding hands with Derek Paulson. Derek, who'd been my friend since college. Derek, who'd been the best man at my wedding. Derek, who I'd gone into business with 4 years ago when we started Paulson and Mitchell Construction. We'd built that company from nothing, landing contracts all over the state, employing 32 people. His name was on my business checks. My name was on his emergency contact forms. I typed back to the unknown number. Who is this? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then appeared again. Someone who's been watching. This isn't the first time. Check the Northridge Hotel, room 237. They're there right now. I looked at the dashboard clock. 6:15 p.m., Tuesday evening. Lauren had texted me an hour ago saying she was grabbing dinner with her sister before book club. I'd been planning to pick up steaks for the kids and me, maybe let them stay up late watching a movie. The Northridge Hotel was 15 minutes away. I started the truck. Some distant, rational part of my brain told me to slow down, to think this through, to verify before I did something stupid. But my hands were already on the wheel, and my foot was already pressing the accelerator. The hotel sat just off the highway, one of those mid-range places that business travelers used. Nice enough to expense, cheap enough not to raise eyebrows. I pulled into the parking lot and scanned for Lauren's white Lexus SUV. Nothing. Then I spotted it, parked in the back corner, away from the entrance lights. The license plate frame still read, "World's Best Mom," from the Mother's Day gift Emma had picked out. I parked 3 spaces away and killed the engine. Room 237 would be on the second floor. I could see the exterior hallway from here, the doors all painted the same corporate beige. A few lights were on behind curtained windows. What was I doing? Was I really going to walk up there and knock? Kick down the door? Stand outside like some pathetic detective in a bad movie? My phone buzzed again. Another photo. This one showed Lauren and Derek entering the hotel, his hand on the small of her back. The timestamp, 5:23 p.m., less than an hour ago. Then another message. Rooms registered under D. Patterson. They use it every Tuesday. Have for 3 months. 3 months, I thought back. Tuesday nights. Lauren's book club had started meeting weekly around March? April? It was June now. The timeline matched. All those Tuesdays I'd been home with the kids, helping with homework, making dinner, giving baths, reading bedtime stories. All those Tuesdays I'd been proud of her for taking time for herself, for maintaining friendships, for being more than just a mom. All those Tuesdays she'd been here. I got out of the truck. The evening air felt thick and hot, pressing against my skin. My legs moved on autopilot, carrying me across the parking lot, up the exterior stairs to the second floor. Room 237 was halfway down the hall. I stood outside the door. No sounds came from within. The curtains were drawn tight, no light visible around the edges. I raised my hand to knock, then stopped. If I knocked, what happened next? A confrontation? Lauren crying, making excuses? Derek acting apologetic or defensive? Some ugly scene in a hotel hallway that ended with me looking like the crazy husband? I lowered my hand. No, not like this. I pulled out my phone and took a photo of the door, making sure the room number was visible. Then I took a photo of Lauren's Lexus in the parking lot, zooming in on the license plate. Then I walked back to my truck and sat there, watching the door to room 237. My phone buzzed. The unknown number again. Smart move. Documentation is everything. I have more if you want it. Call logs, credit card statements, other photos, everything you need. I stared at the message. Why are you helping me? The response came quickly. Because I know what it's like, and because Derek Paulson deserves what's coming to him. Who are you? No response. The three dots appeared and disappeared several times, then nothing. I sat there for another 40 minutes. At 7:03 p.m., the door to room 237 opened. The door opened wider. Lauren stepped out first, smoothing down her blue dress. The same dress from our anniversary dinner last month. She'd told me she was saving it for special occasions. Derek followed, adjusting his watch. That expensive Tag Heuer I'd noticed him wearing lately. He said something I couldn't hear, and Lauren laughed. Actually laughed. My finger pressed the camera button. Click, click, click. They turned left, walking away from me toward the far stairwell. Derek's hand rested on the small of her back. Proprietary. Comfortable. Like they'd done this 100 times. I waited until they disappeared down the stairs before moving. My legs felt disconnected from my body as I walked back to my truck, each step deliberate and measured. Some autopilot part of my brain was still functioning while the rest of me processed what I'd just seen. That laugh. That easy, genuine laugh I used to think was reserved for me. I sat in the truck and stared at my phone. 7:06 p.m. The photos were already backed up to the cloud. 43 images total. Time-stamped. Geotagged. Irrefutable. My phone buzzed. Unknown. Did you see enough? I looked at the screen for a long moment before typing back. Me. Who are you? Unknown. Someone who knows Derek better than you do. Someone he screwed over before you. Me. Business partner? Unknown. Something like that. Does it matter? It didn't. Not really. I had what I needed now. But the question nagged at me anyway. Me. Why help me? Unknown. Because you have something I don't. Legal standing, shared assets, a paper trail that matters. I just have grievances. Me. What do you want from this? Unknown. I want to watch Derek Paulson lose everything that matters to him. The business, the reputation, the future he thinks he's building. The screen stayed blank for a minute. Then another message appeared. Unknown. Your wife is collateral damage, but she made her choice. Check your email. I'm sending you something useful. I opened my email. A new message from a burner account with no subject line. Just an attachment. A PDF labeled DP Financial Records 2024.pdf. I downloaded it and scrolled through. Bank statements. Wire transfers. Expense reports from the business account. Highlighted entries showed regular payments to something called North Point Consulting LLC over the past 18 months. $2,500 monthly. I'd never heard of North Point Consulting. Another message arrived. Unknown. North Point doesn't exist. It's a shell company. Derek's been skimming from Paulson and Mitchell for a year and a half. $75,000 so far. Check the business account against these statements. My hands went numb. I pulled up our business banking app and compared the records. Every highlighted transaction matched. Monthly payments authorized by Derek's login, categorized as consulting fees in our accounting software. $75,000. Our profit margins had been tight lately. We delayed equipment upgrades. Put off hiring another crew. Derek had suggested we both take smaller draws this quarter to keep the business healthy, and he'd been stealing from us the whole time. Me. How did you get these? Unknown. Derek isn't as careful as he thinks. He used the same password for everything. Same patterns. Arrogant people always do. Me. What's North Point for? Unknown. Funding his exit strategy. He's planning to leave the business, start his own company, probably taking your wife with him. Maybe some of your clients too. I sat there in the truck, engine off, watching the hotel entrance. The temperature had dropped, but I barely noticed. Everything felt distant and cold. Derek and Lauren emerged from the main entrance at 7:14 p.m. They stood under the lights talking. Derek pulled out his phone and checked something. Lauren touched his arm, said something, smiled. Then they walked to separate cars. Professional. Careful. Like they'd choreographed this. Lauren's SUV pulled out first, heading east toward our neighborhood. Derek waited 30 seconds, then followed in his BMW, but turned west at the first light. My phone buzzed again. Unknown. You need a lawyer, not tomorrow, tonight. Someone who specializes in business dissolution and forensic accounting. I have a name if you want it. Me. I'm listening. Unknown. Garrett Webb. Office downtown. He's handled cases like this before. Partner fraud, asset protection, divorce with business complications. Tell him you were referred by a concerned party. He'll know what that means. Me. You've done this before. Unknown. I tried, didn't have enough evidence. Derek was smarter then, but he got comfortable. Comfortable people get sloppy. I looked at the name, pulled up the law firm's website on my phone. Webb and Associates. Commercial litigation, partnership disputes, family law. Reviews mentioned aggressive representation and thorough asset investigation. Me. It's 7:15 on a Tuesday night. Unknown. He works late, especially for cases like this. Call the main number. Tell the service it's urgent regarding partnership fraud and marital infidelity. Someone will call you back within 30 minutes. Me. Why are you doing this? The response took longer this time. Unknown. Because Derek Paulson thinks he's untouchable. Because he's done this before and gotten away with it. Because someone should have stopped him years ago and nobody did. Now you can. Unknown. One more thing. Don't go home yet. Don't confront her. Don't tip your hand. Right now you have all the power because they don't know you know. The second you confront her, that advantage disappears. She'll call Derek. They'll coordinate stories. Evidence will disappear. You need everything locked down first. Unknown. Call the lawyer, tonight. Get the process started. Then go home and act normal. Can you do that? Could I? I thought about Emma and Tyler. Probably finishing dinner right now with whatever babysitter Lauren had arranged. Maybe watching TV, completely unaware that their entire world was about to detonate. Me. How long do I have to pretend? Unknown. Few days. Maybe a week. Long enough for Webb to file the paperwork, freeze the business accounts, secure the evidence. Then it happens all at once. Fast and complete. No time for Derek to hide assets or your wife to prepare. Me. And you get what out of this? Unknown. Front row seat to Derek's life falling apart. That's enough. I stared at my phone, at the photos of my wife leaving a hotel room with my business partner, at the financial records showing systematic theft, at the lawyer's name glowing on the screen. Some part of me wanted to drive home right now, confront Lauren the second she walked in, demand answers, scream, break something, make her feel even a fraction of what I was feeling. But that voice, that cold, strategic voice that had kept me functional for the past 2 hours, knew better. I dialed the law office number. A professional answering service picked up on the second ring. I delivered the message exactly as instructed. Partnership fraud. Marital infidelity. Urgent. The woman on the other end didn't sound surprised. She took my name and number, confirmed she'd relay the message to Mr. Webb personally, and promised a call back within the hour. I ended the call and sat in the silence of the truck. 7:23 p.m. I needed to go home. Needed to walk through my front door and hug my kids and ask Lauren about her book club with a straight face. Needed to pretend everything was fine while the evidence compiled and the trap closed around both of them. I started the engine. My phone rang at 7:31 p.m. Unknown number, local area code. "This is Garrett Webb," a voice said. Professional, but not cold. "I understand you have a situation that needs immediate attention." "That's putting it mildly," I said. "Can you come to my office tonight? I'm here for another hour. We should talk face to face." I looked at the clock. Lauren would expect me home by 8. But this couldn't wait. "I'll be there in 20 minutes, I said. "Good. Bring everything you have. Photos, financial records, timeline, everything." He hung up. I pulled out of the parking lot and headed downtown, away from my house, away from my wife, toward whatever came next. The insurance adjuster called Thursday morning while I was pretending to work at the office. "Mr. Mitchell, we've reviewed the police report for the accident on Route 9. We'll need the dash cam footage from your vehicle to process the claim. Can you upload it to our secure portal by end of day?" I'd forgotten about the accident. Tuesday morning, some kid in a Honda had rear-ended me at a red light. Minor damage, no injuries, a lifetime ago. "Yeah, I'll get that to you today." The dash cam. I'd installed it 2 years ago after a client tried to claim our truck had damaged his fence. Cheap insurance, I'd thought. It recorded continuously, saved everything to a 256 GB SD card that I never bothered to check. Derek walked past my office door. He waved. I waved back. My phone sat on the desk. No new messages from the unknown number since Tuesday night. Garrett had called Wednesday to confirm he'd received my retainer and was beginning his investigation. "Don't do anything," he'd said. "Don't change your routine. Don't tip your hand." So I came to work. I sat in meetings. I reviewed project bids. I had lunch with Derek yesterday at the same sandwich place we'd been going to for 6 years. He'd talked about the Richardson project, about his kids' soccer tournament, about nothing. I'd eaten my turkey club and nodded in the right places. At home, Lauren had kissed me when I walked in. She'd made pot roast. Emma had shown me her spelling test. Tyler had wanted to play catch. Everything normal. Everything a lie. I pulled the SD card from the dash cam during my lunch break. The camera was mounted on the windshield, pointed forward, but it had a microphone. It recorded audio from inside the cab. Back at my desk, I plugged the card into my laptop. The insurance company needed Tuesday's footage. The accident had happened at 8:47 a.m. I scrolled through the file directory. Hundreds of files, organized by date and time. Each one labeled with a timestamp. Tuesday, 8:45 9 a.m. I clicked it, watched the kid's Honda drift into my bumper at the stoplight. 15 seconds of relevant footage. I downloaded it, uploaded it to the insurance portal. My cursor hovered over the close button. Then I scrolled down. Tuesday, 9:30 9:45 a.m. After I'd left for work. I clicked it. The video showed my driveway, my garage door, empty. Nothing. But the audio. Lauren's voice, clear as if she were sitting next to me. Just pulled out. Yeah, I'm leaving now. A pause. She was on the phone. I know. I feel terrible lying to him. My hand tightened on the mouse. No, he doesn't suspect anything. He's completely clueless. A bitter laugh. Sometimes I think he wouldn't notice if I disappeared for a week. Another pause. I love you too. See you at 11. The call ended. 30 seconds later, the Lexus pulled out of the driveway. The camera caught her profile through the windshield. She was smiling. I sat there, staring at the frozen frame. The timestamp read 9:37 a.m., Tuesday, 3 days ago, hours before I'd received that first text message. I scrolled further back. Last Tuesday, the file from 9:30, 9:45 a.m., same thing. Her voice. He's working late tonight. We could grab dinner after the Tuesday before that. Told him it's book club. He never asked questions. All those Tuesdays. I kept scrolling. The files went back months. The card had 256 GB of storage. It never deleted anything unless I manually cleared it. I clicked randomly. A Thursday in April. 2:15 p.m. The Lexus in the driveway. Lauren's voice again, but different this time. Tense. I can't keep doing this. What if someone sees us? A male voice in the background. Faint, but audible. Derek. Nobody's gonna see us. You're being paranoid. I'm being careful. There's a difference. Lauren, we've been over this. Once the business deal goes through, we'll have enough to... I don't want to talk about this in the driveway. A car door slammed. The Lexus pulled away. I played it again. Once the business deal goes through, my phone buzzed. A text from Derek. Heading out early. Got that meeting with the Riverside developer. See you tomorrow. I didn't respond. I went back to the files. Methodical now. Checking every Tuesday first, then branching out. Building a timeline. March 14th. Her voice, excited. He doesn't look at the bank statements. I handle all of that. March 28th. Talking about taking the kids to his parents for spring break. That gives us the whole weekend. April 3rd. Derek's voice, clearer this time. He must have been sitting in the passenger seat. The LLC is clean. My guy set it up through Delaware. There's no way to trace it back without a full forensic audit. Lauren. And he won't do that. Derek. He trusts me. That's his problem. April 18th. Lawyer said 6 months minimum before everything's finalized. But once you file, we can stop hiding. May the 2nd. Lauren, crying. I look at him sometimes and I feel sick. He has no idea. Derek. Then stop looking at him. This is almost over. May 9th. The construction account has another $40,000. If you move it in small increments. I stopped the playback. Stood up, walked to the window. The parking lot below. Derek's truck was gone. He really had left early. My reflection stared back at me from the glass. I looked the same as I had this morning. Same as I had yesterday. But I wasn't. I'd thought Tuesday night was the worst of it. Finding out about the affair, the hotel room, the photographs. This was worse. Her voice. Her actual voice talking about me like I was an obstacle. A problem to be managed. Something to be gotten rid of. He's completely clueless. He trusts me. That's his problem. I walked back to the desk, sat down, kept going through the files. There were dozens of them. Months of conversations, some in the driveway, some at stoplights when she'd taken my truck to run errands, some in parking lots. She'd been planning this. They both had. Not just an affair, not just embezzlement, a complete dismantling of my life. I found a file from February, before the affair had even started, based on what the unknown number had told me. Derek's voice. I'm telling you, the business is worth twice what he thinks. If we can push him out, restructure, we could flip it in 2 years for serious money. A different male voice, not one I recognized. And you're sure he won't fight? Derek. He won't even see it coming. The guy's a builder, not a businessman. He'll sign whatever I put in front of him. February. 2 months before the first Tuesday at the hotel. This wasn't about Lauren falling in love. This wasn't about passion or connection or whatever she'd tell herself to justify it. This was a plan, a strategy, and she'd gone along with it. I ejected the SD card, held it in my palm. 256 gigabytes of evidence, hundreds of hours of footage, months of conversations. My phone sat next to the keyboard. I picked it up, opened my messages. The unknown number. Our last exchange was Tuesday night. I typed, "I found something." The response came within seconds. What? Dash cam recordings, months of them, conversations in my truck. They've been planning this since February. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Can you save the files? Already done. Send them to your lawyer, all of them. I stared at the screen, then typed, "Who are you?" No response. You know too much. You knew about the hotel, the embezzlement. You've been watching them. Still nothing. Tell me who you are. A full minute passed. Then, someone who wants Derek to lose everything, just like he did to me. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting. Send the files to your lawyer, today. I looked at the SD card in my hand, then back at the screen. What did he do to you? The dots appeared, stayed for a long time. Finally, the same thing he's doing to you. But I wasn't ready. You are. The message thread went silent. I sat there until the office lights automatically switched on, the sensors detecting the fading daylight. Then I copied every file from the SD card onto my laptop, backed them up to 3 different cloud services, emailed the entire archive to Garrett Webb with a subject line that read, "Urgent, additional evidence." My phone rang. Garrett. I'm looking at your email. How much footage are we talking about? Months, maybe 6, 7 months of recordings, conversations, planning sessions. All of it. Jesus Christ. A pause. This changes everything. This isn't just adultery and embezzlement anymore. This is conspiracy, fraud, possibly RICO if we can prove ongoing criminal enterprise. What does that mean? It means they're not just screwed, they're buried. I need to bring in a forensic accountant and possibly a criminal attorney. Can you come to my office tomorrow morning? Yeah. Don't tell anyone about this. Not Derek, not Lauren, nobody. I won't. Good. We're going to destroy them. He hung up. I put the SD card back in the dash cam. Everything had to look normal, nothing out of place. My phone buzzed. Lauren. Running late. Book club went long. Can you pick up dinner? I stared at the message. Thursday. Not even a Tuesday. There was no book club. There never had been. I typed back, "Sure, what do you want?" "Anything's fine, love you." I didn't respond to that part, just drove to pick up Chinese food and headed home to my family. I sat in the truck with my phone in my hand, staring at the confirmation that everything had been sent to Garrett. 3 gigabytes of audio files, spreadsheets showing $75,000 siphoned off over 6 months, photos time-stamped and geotagged. The dash cam footage from the insurance company's accident claim sat forgotten on the passenger seat, still plugged into my laptop. The accident. Right. That's what started this. I'd completely forgotten about the actual reason I'd pulled the recordings in the first place. Some guy had backed into me in the grocery store parking lot 2 weeks ago. Minor damage to the rear bumper. His insurance wanted the footage to confirm his client's story. I ejected the SD card and held it up to the dome light. 32 gigabytes. The camera cycled footage every 72 hours unless I manually saved something. I'd pulled the files from March through today, thinking I'd just find the accident and send it over. Instead, I'd found 3 months of my wife planning my destruction. My phone buzzed. Garrett Webb. Got everything. Don't open these at the office. Reviewing now. We'll call in the morning. Then another text from the unknown number. You find anything else interesting? I stared at those 4 words. This person, whoever they were, had known about the dash cam. They'd suggested I check the footage carefully when they first told me about the embezzlement. I'd thought they meant for evidence of Derek's movements, proof he was where he shouldn't be. But they'd known about the conversations. How did you know what was on there? 3 dots appeared immediately. Derek talks too much when he thinks he's safe. Mentioned your truck setup once. Said you were paranoid about accidents after that claim 3 years ago. Said Lauren made fun of you for it. My jaw tightened. I did remember that claim. Rear-ended at a red light, other driver tried to say I'd backed into them. Cost me a $2,000 deductible before I could prove otherwise. I'd bought the dash cam the next week. Lauren had laughed. Called it my trust issues mobile surveillance system. Funny how that worked out. Who are you? Someone who knows how Derek operates. Check March 8th. Around 10 a.m. Lauren borrowed your truck that day, remember? I did remember. Her SUV had been in the shop. Something with the transmission. She'd taken my truck to run errands while I used the company van. I opened the laptop again and scrolled through the archived files. March 8th, 9:47 a.m., according to the timestamp. The audio was clear. Too clear. Can't believe I'm doing this in his truck. Lauren's voice, stressed but also excited. Relax, Derek's voice. He's at the Riverside site all day. You said so yourself. I know, but nothing. We need to talk without phones, without records. This is perfect. A pause. Engine sounds. Traffic. The papers are ready? Lauren asked. Almost. Garrett's drawing up the... I stopped the playback. Rewound it. Garrett's drawing up the... My lawyer. They'd said Garrett's name. But that was impossible. I'd only contacted Garrett Webb yesterday. The anonymous source had given me his name. I'd never heard of him before that. Unless... I scrolled through my call history, found Garrett's number, searched it in my email. Nothing. Searched it in Lauren's email on our shared family computer. There. March 3rd. An email from Garrett Webb Law Office to Lauren's personal Gmail. Ms. Patterson. Per our phone consultation, I'm attaching the preliminary documents we discussed regarding business partnership dissolution. As I mentioned, timing will be critical. Please review and call my office to schedule a follow-up. I took a screenshot. Sent it to the unknown number. They were using the same lawyer. Were past tense. Check who recommended him to you. I scrolled back through our text history. Found it. Contact Garrett Webb. He specializes in this. He'll help you. You set this up. I made sure you got to him first. With better evidence. He can't represent them now. Conflict of interest. They've been calling his office all day trying to figure out why he won't return their messages. I sat back against the seat. This person wasn't just feeding me information. They were actively sabotaging Derek and Lauren's plan, step by step. Why? Told you. Derek did this before, to me, 4 years ago. Different business, different partner, same playbook. I wasn't ready then, but I kept records. And when I saw him setting up the same con again, I decided to make sure you didn't end up like I did. What happened to you? Lost everything. Business, savings, reputation. He's good at making the other person look incompetent. Makes himself look like the reasonable one trying to save a failing partnership. By the time I figured out what was happening, he'd already poisoned half our clients against me. And Lauren. She's new to his routine. He had someone else last time too. Someone to help from the inside, make the target look unstable, create a narrative. Your wife's playing a role she thinks she invented. I thought about the recordings, the way Lauren had talked about me. He's been distracted lately. He's not focused on the business anymore. I'm worried about his decision-making. Setting up a narrative. My phone rang. Garrett Webb. "Thought you were calling in the morning," I said. "I was. Then I opened these files." He sounded wired. "Mitchell, this is bigger than I thought. The March 8th recording. They mentioned my name." "I know. I just found an email. Lauren contacted you first." "Jesus." A pause. That's actually perfect for us. I'm going to file a motion tomorrow to freeze all business accounts. Emergency petition. With this evidence, I can argue imminent threat of asset dissipation. In English? They can't touch the money while we sort this out. And I mean none of it. Business accounts, lines of credit, everything. Derek won't be able to move a dollar without court approval. How long will that take? With what you've given me, I can have it filed by noon. Hearing by end of week. Judge Brennan owes me a favor. I heard typing in the background. "There's something else," Garrett said. "The North Point Consulting payments. I ran the EIN number. It's registered to a Karen Paulson, Derek's mother. She's been cashing the checks and transferring the money back to him. That's wire fraud. Federal. Can we use that?" "We don't have to. I'm sending everything to the state attorney's office. Let them decide if they want to prosecute. Either way, it's leverage. Derek's looking at serious time if this goes criminal." "And Lauren?" "Conspiracy to commit fraud. She signed off on half those payments as company secretary. Her name's on the documentation." The truck felt smaller suddenly. Hotter. "What do I do now?" I asked. "Nothing. Go home. Act normal. Don't let them know anything's changed. Tomorrow afternoon, after I file the freeze, all hell's going to break loose. Let it. Don't answer their calls. Don't meet with them. Don't respond to anything. Every word you say from now on could be used to claim you're acting irrationally or making threats." I have to go home. Lauren's there with the kids. "I know, that's fine. Just be boring. Be normal. Can you do that?" I looked at the laptop screen, frozen on Lauren's face from the March 8th video timestamp. She was smiling at Derek in my truck, planning my destruction. "Yeah," I said. "I can do that." I hung up, sat there for another minute. Then I backed out of the grocery store parking lot and drove home. The house was lit up when I pulled in. Kitchen lights, living room, upstairs bathroom. Lauren's SUV in the driveway, transmission fixed last week. I grabbed the grocery bags from the passenger seat. The ones I'd bought 2 hours ago before everything imploded. Milk, bread, eggs. Normal things. The front door opened before I reached it. "There you are," Lauren smiled. I was about to call. Emma needs help with her math homework and Tyler flushed his action figure down the toilet again. She looked exactly like she always did. Yoga pants, oversized sweater, hair in a ponytail. My wife of 9 years. "Sorry," I said. "Ran into Bill from the Riverside Project. Got talking." "Of course you did." She took one of the bags. "You're always running into someone." I followed her inside. Tyler ran past, cape flying behind him. Emma was at the kitchen table, math worksheet spread out in front of her. "Daddy, what's 7 times 8? 56, I said automatically. Everything was exactly as it should be, except nothing would ever be the same again. The truck was still parked in the grocery store lot when I got back to it. Same spot. Same world, technically. But nothing felt the same. I sat there with the engine off, phone in my hand, staring at Webb's last message. "Get some sleep. Tomorrow changes everything." Sleep. Right. I checked the time. 11:47 p.m. Lauren had texted twice asking where I was. The second one came 20 minutes ago. Getting worried. Are you okay? The performance was flawless. Concerned wife, loving partner. I typed back, sorry, ran into Jim Kowalski at the store, talked for way too long, heading home now. Jim was a subcontractor we'd used on 3 projects. Talked enough for 5 people. The lie would hold. Her response came in seconds. Oh, good. I was about to send out a search party. Drive safe. 3 heart emojis. I looked at those hearts for a long time. The drive home took 12 minutes. I used every one of them to construct the mask I'd need. Normal Mitchell, tired Mitchell. Mitchell who'd spent too long talking shop in a parking lot and forgot to buy half the things on the list. Not Mitchell who knew everything. Not Mitchell who had a lawyer filing emergency motions in 9 hours. The house was dark, except for the porch light and the lamp in the living room we always left on. Lauren's Lexus sat in the driveway. I pulled in next to it and killed the engine. My phone buzzed. Unknown contact. You're doing great. One more night. Keep it together. I deleted the message and went inside. Lauren was on the couch in pajamas, watching something on Netflix with the volume low. She looked up when I came in, smiled that same smile I'd seen for 9 years. Hey, I was starting to think Jim had kidnapped you. You know how he gets. I held up the 2 grocery bags I'd actually remembered to grab before leaving the parking lot. Got most of it. Most of it? Forgot the milk and the bread. She laughed. Of course you did. That's okay. I'll grab it tomorrow. Tomorrow. Tuesday. Her usual day. I wondered if she'd already texted Derek. If they'd already planned which room. If she'd already constructed whatever excuse she'd tell me. Book club. Lunch with Amy. Errands that would take all afternoon. You look exhausted, she said, standing up. Long day? Foundation inspection ran late. Then the permit office screwed up the paperwork on the Riverside project again. The lies came easier than they should have. Maybe because I'd been living in her lies for 3 months without knowing it. The skill was contagious. Well, come to bed soon. You need sleep. She kissed my cheek on her way past. I smelled her shampoo. Same brand she'd used since before we got married. Vanilla and something else I'd never been able to name. I stood in the kitchen putting away groceries I didn't remember buying while I listened to her brush her teeth upstairs. The bathroom door closed. Water ran. Normal sounds. Normal night. My phone buzzed again. Web. Motion filed at 8 a.m. Accounts freeze at 9. You'll get the call from the bank around 9:15. Act surprised. I typed back, what about Derek? Web. He'll find out when his card gets declined or when his bank calls. Whichever comes first. Should be entertaining. Another message followed. Lauren won't know until she tries to access something. Joint accounts freeze too. That's unavoidable. I stared at that last part. Joint accounts. Our accounts. The ones we used for groceries and mortgage payments and Emma's dance classes and Tyler's soccer league. All of it frozen by morning. Web. I know it's inconvenient. I'll have it sorted within 48 hours. You'll have access to operating funds. But we need the freeze to prevent asset dissipation. Asset dissipation. Legal speak for stop them from emptying everything before we can secure it. I put the phone away and went upstairs. Lauren was already in bed, reading something on her iPad. She looked up when I came in. Did you lock up? Yeah. Emma wants to know if Chloe can come over this weekend for a sleepover. Chloe. Emma's best friend from school. Normal kid stuff? Normal parent conversations? Sure, that's fine. Lauren studied me for a second. You okay? You seem distracted. The concern in her voice sounded genuine. Maybe it was. Maybe she'd compartmentalized so completely that she could actually worry about me while planning to destroy me. Just tired. The permit thing is going to be a headache tomorrow. Well, try not to stress about it too much. She set the iPad aside. Things always work out. I went to brush my teeth. The bathroom mirror showed me a face I barely recognized. Same features. Different person behind them. I wondered if this was how it worked. If betrayal rewrote you at some cellular level. If you could actually see it happening in real time. When I came back, Lauren had turned off her light. I got into bed next to her in the dark. "Love you," she said quietly. 2 words. Said the same way she'd said them 1,000 times. I closed my eyes. "Love you too." The lie tasted like ash. I didn't sleep. Couldn't. Just lay there listening to Lauren breathe, watching the ceiling fan turn in the darkness, feeling every minute crawl past. At 2:17 a.m., my phone lit up on the nightstand. Unknown contact. "You still awake?" I picked it up carefully, angled it away from Lauren. Yeah. Unknown. First night's the worst. After tomorrow, it gets easier. You'll have actions to take, decisions to make. That helps. I typed, "How did you do this? 4 years ago. How did you get through it?" The response took longer than usual. Unknown. Barely. I didn't have someone helping me. Didn't have evidence until it was too late. Lost the business, the house, everything. Took me 3 years to rebuild. Another message. But I kept records, tracked Derek, waited for him to do it again. Knew he would. Men like him always do. Me. Why help me? Why not just report him yourself? Unknown. Because I need someone with standing, someone current, someone he's actively defrauding. My case is too old. Statute of limitations on some of it. But yours? Yours is happening right now. Fresh evidence, fresh crimes. I stared at that. Unknown. You get your justice. I get mine. Derek goes down for everything, both cases. Maybe others we don't even know about yet. Me. And Lauren? Unknown. That's up to you, and the prosecutor. But she's in it deep. Those recordings make that clear. I looked over at her sleeping form. She'd shifted onto her side, facing away from me. Me. What was her name? Your wife? Unknown. Stephanie. They used the same playbook. The affair. The financial fraud. The plan to push me out. Even some of the same phrases in the recordings you found. A pause then. Derek's efficient. When something works, he repeats it. I set the phone down and stared at the ceiling some more. Somewhere in the house, the AC kicked on. Normal sounds. Normal house. In 5 hours, none of this would be normal anymore. My alarm went off at 6:30. I'd set it like always, maintained the routine. Lauren stirred next to me. "Already?" she mumbled. "Yeah." I got up, showered, dressed, went through all the motions, made coffee, toasted a bagel I wouldn't eat, checked my email like I did every morning. Lauren came down at 7:15, already dressed. Jeans and a fitted blue top I'd seen before. She poured coffee and started making lunches for the kids. "What time do you think you'll be home tonight?" she asked. I almost laughed. Instead, I said, "Not sure. Depends on how the permit thing goes." "Okay, well, I've got book club this afternoon, so I'll probably be back around 5. Book club. There it was. The lie, delivered with the peanut butter and jelly sandwich she was making for Tyler. "Sounds good," I said. At 7:45, I kissed her goodbye. Kissed Emma and Tyler. Told them to have a good day at school. Normal morning, normal family. I got in the truck and drove to the office. Derek's car was already there when I arrived. Silver Audi, parked in his usual spot. I pulled in next to it and sat for a moment. 8:02 a.m. In 58 minutes, his entire world would detonate. I grabbed my phone and went inside. The alarm went off at 6:30. I slapped it silent before the second beep. Lauren stirred beside me, her hand reaching across the sheets. Too early, she mumbled. Client meeting, I said. Not a lie. Webb wanted me at his office by 8. I showered, dressed, made coffee. The kitchen felt different now. Every surface, every appliance, we'd picked them out together. The farmhouse sink she insisted on. The backsplash tile we spent 3 weekends installing ourselves. All of it contaminated. Emma wandered in at 7:15, dragging her stuffed rabbit. Can I have the strawberry yogurt? Sure, sweetheart. I pulled it from the fridge, grabbed a spoon. She climbed onto her chair, legs swinging. Are you going to work? For a little bit. Is Uncle Derek going to be there? My hand froze on the coffee pot. Why do you ask? She shrugged, spooning pink yogurt into her mouth. Mom said Uncle Derek is helping with something important. I forced my voice steady. What else did Mom say? That things are going to be different soon. Better. She smiled up at me, yogurt on her chin. She said we might get a bigger house, with a pool. The coffee pot felt heavy in my hand. I set it down carefully. That sounds nice, I managed. Lauren appeared in the doorway, already dressed. Yoga pants, fitted top, hair pulled back. She looked fresh, energized, like someone with a secret plan finally coming together. You're up early, she said, kissing Emma's head. Meeting. On a Thursday? Her eyes narrowed slightly. Construction never sleeps. I grabbed my keys. I'll probably be tied up most of the day. She relaxed. Okay, I've got book club tonight, remember? Book club. Right. The Tuesday lie had been yoga. Wednesday was book club. I wondered what tonight really was. Another planning session with Derek? Celebration drinks for their impending victory? Have fun, I said. I kissed Emma goodbye. Didn't look at Lauren as I left. Webb's office was in a converted Victorian downtown. Brick facade, black shutters, discreet brass nameplate. The kind of place that whispered old money and quiet power. His receptionist, Diane, nameplate said, looked up as I entered. Mr. Mitchell? Yes. He's expecting you. Second door on the right. Webb stood as I entered, extending his hand. Early 50s, gray at the temples, expensive suit that fit like it was made for him. Probably was. Coffee? Please. He poured from a French press on the credenza. Real china cups, not paper. Everything's filed. Judge Carmichael signed off at 7 this morning. So it's done? The accounts freeze at 9. He checked his watch. 43 minutes from now. I sat, cup warming my hands. What happens then? Derek will try to access business funds. His card will decline. He'll call the bank. They'll inform him the account is frozen pending litigation. Same with the joint accounts you share with Lauren. How long before they know why? They'll be served by 10. Process server will hit Derek at the office, Lauren at home. He slid a folder across the desk. These are your copies. Emergency motion for asset freeze, petition for business dissolution, divorce filing with custody motion. I opened it. Saw my name, Lauren's name, Derek's name, all reduced to case numbers and legal whereas clauses. The custody motion is aggressive, Webb continued. We're arguing that Lauren's affair with your business partner demonstrates poor judgment and moral unfitness. Combined with evidence she was planning to relocate your children without your knowledge or consent, we're seeking primary physical custody with supervised visitation for her. Will it work? The recordings help. Her discussing taking the kids, Derek talking about schools in Arizona. That's parental kidnapping conspiracy. Judges don't like that. He leaned back. But I'll be honest. Custody battles are unpredictable. Mothers still have an advantage, even with evidence like this. But she was going to take them. And we'll argue that forcefully. But courts move slowly. This is just the opening salvo. My phone buzzed. Text from the unknown number. Derek just left for the office. Lauren's still home. Enjoy the show. I stared at it. They're watching them. Who? I showed him the text. Webb's expression didn't change. Your anonymous benefactor. You don't seem concerned. I'm a lawyer. I deal with what's provable in court. Where they got the information doesn't matter. It's all legitimate. Bank records, hotel receipts, your own dash cam footage. He paused. But if you're asking my personal opinion, someone who goes to this much trouble has a serious grudge. They're not doing this out of altruism. They said Derek did the same thing to them. Then they want revenge. They're using you to get it. Webb sipped his coffee. Doesn't make them wrong. Doesn't make the evidence invalid. But you should know, once this starts, you're not in control anymore. The court process has its own momentum. I understand. Do you? He set down his cup. In about 30 minutes, your wife and business partner are going to discover their accounts are frozen and they're being sued. They will panic. They will call lawyers. Those lawyers will tell them to stop talking, stop planning, stop everything. The affair will come out. Your kids will hear things. Your employees will know. This will be public and ugly. It's already ugly. Yes, but right now it's private ugly. You're about to make it public. He met my eyes. I need to know you're ready for that. I thought about Emma asking about the bigger house, about Lauren kissing her head while planning to take her away, about Derek's hand on my shoulder at the hospital when Tyler was born, his voice in the dash cam recordings talking about pushing me out. I'm ready, Webb nodded. Then we wait. I didn't go home, didn't go to the office. I drove to the construction site on Maple Street, the Brennan renovation, pulled into the dirt lot, killed the engine. My phone showed 8:47, 13 minutes. The crew was already working. I could hear the buzz of a circular saw, someone shouting measurements. Normal Thursday morning. They had no idea that by lunch, everything would be different. I pulled up the dash cam app on my phone. The footage was backed up to cloud storage now, per Webb's instructions. Encrypted, time-stamped, preserved. I scrolled through the thumbnails. March 14th, March 21st, March 28th. Every Tuesday, like clockwork. I tapped one at random. April 11th, 7:23 p.m. Lauren's voice filled the truck cab. Told him I was going to yoga. He didn't even question it. Derek laughed. Why would he? You've been the perfect wife for 9 years. God, don't remind me. 9 years of pretending to care about construction projects and fishing trips. Almost over. Not soon enough. Did you talk to your mom about the Arizona property? She's got a realtor looking. 3 bedrooms, good school district. We can close once the business sale goes through. And Mitchell won't fight it? He won't have a choice. Once we trigger the dissolution clause, he either buys me out or we liquidate. Either way, I walk with $500,000 minimum. What about the North Point money? That's separate, clean. He'll never find it. Except I had. The unknown contact had made sure of that. I closed the app. 8:53, 7 minutes. Another text appeared. Derek's at his desk, coffee in hand, checking email. No idea what's coming. Then another. Lauren's in the kitchen, making a grocery list, planning her normal day. I typed back, "Who are you?" 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Someone who knows what it's like to trust the wrong people. Stephanie. Long pause. Stephanie didn't make it. Car accident 2 years ago, 3 months after Derek helped his previous partner clean out their joint venture. Funny timing. My chest tightened. You think Derek? I think Derek destroys people. I think he's done it before. I think he would have done worse to you if given the chance. So this is revenge. This is justice. There's a difference. I stared at the screen. Wanted to ask more. Wanted to know who I was really working with. But my phone showed 8:58. 2 minutes. I opened my email. Refreshed. Nothing yet. Refreshed again. 8:59. The construction sounds continued around me. Hammering, sawing, normal work on a normal Thursday. My phone buzzed. Email from web. Accounts frozen. Process servers en route. 9 a.m. I sat in my truck, hands on the wheel, and waited for my life to detonate. The call came at 9:17 a.m. Derek's name on the screen. I let it ring through to voicemail. He called again immediately, then again. On the fourth attempt, I answered. "What the hell did you do?" His voice was raw, stripped of the easy charm I'd known for 15 years. "Good morning to you, too." The accounts are frozen. All of them. The bank said there's a court order. They said you filed an emergency motion. Yes. Silence. Then, "You can't do this. We're partners." "We're partners." Past tense. I kept my voice level. "How's North Point Consulting working out for you?" The silence stretched longer this time. "I don't know what you think you found, but March 8th, your voice and Lauren's, in my truck, talking about pushing me out. Should I play it for you? Or do you remember the conversation?" "Mitchell, listen." "No, you listen. I have recordings, bank statements, photos, emails, all of it. Your lawyer, my lawyer now, filed everything with the court this morning. You're done. We can work this out. Business disagreements happen. We don't need to. You stole $75,000. You've been sleeping with my wife. You plan to take my business and my family." My grip tightened on the phone. "There's no working this out. I'll fight this. You'll lose. And if you're smart, you'll get a good criminal attorney. The state's attorney is very interested in wire fraud charges." I hung up. The phone rang again immediately. I blocked his number. Lauren called at 9:34. I answered on the first ring. "What's happening?" Her voice was high, panicked. "There's a man here. He served me papers. He said, the accounts are frozen? Our accounts?" "All of them." "You can't. We have bills. The kids' school payments. The mortgage is due next week." Should have thought of that before planning to take them to Arizona. Sharp intake of breath. "How did you?" "Dashcam. Your conversations with Derek in my truck. I have hours of footage, Lauren. All of it time-stamped. All of it admissible." "Mitchell, please, let me explain." "Explain what? That you've been sleeping with Derek since March? That you've been planning to destroy me since February? That you told our daughter we were getting a bigger house with a pool?" My voice cracked. "I heard everything. Every lie. Every plan. Every time you laughed about how clueless I was." She was crying now. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. Read the papers. My lawyer's number's on there. Don't call me again unless it's about the kids." "The kids? Mitchell, the custody motion says supervised visitation. You can't take my children. You were going to take them from me to another state without telling me. We were just looking at options." April 11th recording. Derek talking about schools in Arizona. "You asking about the realtor? Want me to send you the transcript?" Silence. "Get a lawyer, Lauren. A good one. You're going to need it." I hung up. This time when she called back, I didn't answer. By noon, my phone had 63 missed calls. Derek, Lauren, Derek's mother, Lauren's sister, 3 different numbers I didn't recognize. I blocked them all. The unknown contact sent one message. Beautiful. Then nothing. The next 3 weeks moved with the grinding inevitability of a legal process in motion. Derek hired Martin Shepard, the most expensive defense attorney in the state. Didn't matter. The evidence was airtight. The recordings alone would have been damaging. Combined with the bank records, the emails, the photos, Shepard advised Derek to settle. The business dissolution took 11 days. Derek's share was calculated at $340,000. Less than he'd hoped, more than he deserved. But the court deducted the $75,000 he'd embezzled, plus penalties, plus my legal fees. His actual payout was $186,000. He signed the papers without looking at me. The state's attorney filed criminal charges the same day. Wire fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, embezzlement. Derek took a plea deal. 18 months in federal prison, 5 years probation, full restitution. His mother's house was seized to cover the North Point money. Turned out she'd known everything. The prosecutor was generous. She got probation instead of prison time, contingent on her cooperation. Lauren fought the custody motion. Her lawyer, Patricia Dunn, sharp as a razor, argued that an affair didn't make her an unfit mother, that the recordings were taken without her knowledge, that I was using the children as weapons. Webb countered with the relocation plans, the discussions about taking Emma and Tyler to Arizona, the conversations about hiding assets and timing the move for maximum impact. Judge Carmichael listened to 3 hours of arguments, reviewed the transcripts, and made her ruling. Primary physical custody to me. Lauren got alternating weekends and 1 evening per week. Supervised for the first 6 months, given the demonstrated willingness to relocate the children without paternal consent. Lauren sobbed through the entire ruling. Emma and Tyler didn't understand why Mommy was only visiting now. I told them what I could, age-appropriate versions. Mommy and Daddy need to live separately for a while, but we both love you very much. Tyler accepted it with the resilience of a 5-year-old. Emma asked harder questions. Did Mommy do something bad? Grown-up stuff is complicated, sweetheart. But you're not mad at us? I pulled her close. Never. None of this is your fault, not one bit. The divorce finalized on a Tuesday. Ironic that. Lauren kept the house. I didn't want it anymore, didn't want to live in the space where she'd planned my destruction. I bought a smaller place across town, 3 bedrooms, fenced yard, close to the kids' school. The financial settlement was straightforward. She got half the marital assets, minus adjustments for the business value and her involvement in Derek's schemes. Her lawyer argued she didn't know about the embezzlement. The recordings proved otherwise. Final tally. I kept the business, now renamed Mitchell Construction. I kept the truck, the tools, the client relationships. She got the house, her car, and $127,000 from our savings. She'd expected much more. This isn't fair, she said at the final hearing. Judge Carmichael looked up from the paperwork. Mrs. Mitchell, you participated in a conspiracy to defraud your husband's business and planned to relocate his children without consent. The court finds this settlement more than generous given the circumstances. Lauren signed the papers with shaking hands. 6 months after everything imploded, I got a letter. Plain envelope, no return address. Inside, a single page of handwritten text. Mitchell. By now you've probably figured out who I am, or at least some of it. Derek destroyed my life 4 years ago using the same playbook he tried on you. Same affair strategy, same financial fraud, same plan to push out his partner and take everything. My wife Stephanie believed him, believed I was the problem. She helped him, just like Lauren helped him with you. By the time I realized what was happening, it was over. I lost the business, the house, my reputation. Stephanie got everything in the divorce. 3 months later, she was dead. Car accident on Route 9, late at night. Single vehicle collision. Police said she fell asleep at the wheel. Maybe she did. Or maybe Derek got nervous about loose ends, about someone who knew too much. I'll never know. What I do know is that men like Derek don't stop. They find new targets, new partners, new people to destroy. You were next. If I hadn't intervened, you'd be where I was 4 years ago. I'm not asking for thanks. I did this for Stephanie, for myself, for everyone Derek's ever hurt. But I am asking you to remember something. Trust is a gift. When someone violates it, they don't just break your heart. They break your ability to give that gift again. Don't let Derek and Lauren take that from you. Don't let them make you suspicious of everyone. Your kids need you to still believe in people, even after this. That's the real victory. Not the money, not the custody, not watching them lose. It's refusing to let their betrayal turn you into something you're not. Good luck, Mitchell. A friend. I read it 3 times. Then I folded it carefully and put it in my desk drawer, next to the flash drive containing all the recordings. Evidence. Memory. Warning. Emma asked me once, months later, if I was sad. We were in the backyard, building a birdhouse together. Tyler was digging in the sandbox, making truck noises. Sometimes, I admitted. Are you? She nodded, hammering a nail with intense concentration. I miss when we were all together. Me too, sweetheart. But Mommy did a bad thing, right? That's why she can't live here? I set down my hammer. Mommy made some choices that hurt our family. Grown-ups do that sometimes, but she still loves you. That part didn't change. Do you still love her? The question hung in the air between us. I love who I thought she was, I said finally. But people aren't always who we think they are. And that's okay to be sad about. Emma hammered another nail. Mrs. Peterson says when people hurt us, we have to forgive them. Mrs. Peterson is right, but forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, or letting them hurt you again. So you forgive Mommy? I thought about that. About Lauren crying at the custody hearing. About her face when she'd signed the divorce papers. About the woman I'd loved for 9 years and the stranger who'd planned my destruction. I'm working on it, I said. A year after the divorce, Mitchell Construction landed the biggest contract in company history. A mixed-use development downtown. $8 million, 18-month timeline. I hired 6 new people, promoted my best foreman to project manager, bought new equipment. The business Derek had tried to steal was thriving without him. I heard through mutual acquaintances that he got out of prison after 14 months for good behavior. Moved to Nevada. Started over with a new name, new business, probably new targets. Lauren remarried 2 years later. Some guy she met at her actual book club, ironically. He seemed decent enough from the brief interactions during custody exchanges. Emma and Tyler called him Steve, not Dad. That was fine. She had them every other weekend now, unsupervised. The judge had lifted the restrictions after she completed parenting classes and therapy. She was trying, I could see that. Trying to rebuild what she'd broken. I didn't hate her anymore. Didn't love her either. She was just someone I used to know. The unknown contact never reached out again after that letter. I tried to find them once. Hired a private investigator to trace the phone number. Dead end. Burner phone, activated with cache, never used again after the last message. Whoever they were, they'd gotten what they wanted. Derek in prison, his reputation destroyed, his pattern exposed. And I'd gotten my life back. Different than before, smaller in some ways, but mine. 5 years later, I was at Emma's soccer game when my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. Mitchell? A woman's voice, vaguely familiar. Yes? This is Patricia Dunn. I was Lauren's attorney during your divorce. I tensed. What do you want? I'm calling because I thought you should know. Lauren was in an accident. Car collision on Route 9. She's in the hospital. Stable, but serious. Route 9, where Stephanie had died. The kids are fine. They weren't with her. But she's asking for you. I know that's a lot to ask, given everything, but which hospital? She looked small in the hospital bed. Bruises on her face, arm in a cast, monitors beeping steadily. Her eyes opened when I entered. You came. The kids need their mother. I stayed by the door. What happened? I don't know. I was driving home from work and someone ran me off the road. Black SUV. They didn't stop. My blood went cold. Did you see the driver? No, it happened too fast. She shifted, wincing. The police think it was a drunk driver. But Mitchell, I think it was Derek. Derek's in Nevada. He called me last week, asked if I'd talked to the state's attorney, if I'd said anything about other things. Things from before. What things? She looked away. There were other people, before you. Other partners Derek targeted. I didn't know at first, but later, I found things, documents, plans. I kept copies, just in case. Where are they? Safety deposit box, Bank of America on 5th Street. She met my eyes. If something happens to me, they're yours. Everything. All the evidence. Nothing's going to happen to you. You don't know that. He's not who we thought. Either of us. Her voice dropped. I'm sorry for everything. I know that doesn't fix anything, but you should rest. I turned to leave. Mitchell? I stopped. Thank you for taking care of them. Emma and Tyler, you're a good father. Better than I deserved. I didn't respond. Just walked out. The police investigated Lauren's accident. Found nothing. No witnesses, no traffic cameras, no evidence of the black SUV. But I made a call to the unknown contact's old number anyway. Left a voicemail on the deadline. If you're still out there, if you're still watching, Derek's escalating. Lauren thinks he tried to kill her. If you have any evidence, any proof of what he's done before, now's the time. I didn't expect a response. But 2 days later, a package arrived at my office. No return address. Inside, a flash drive and a note. Everything's on here. 4 previous partners. 3 suspicious accidents. 2 deaths. Police reports, medical records, financial documents. Give it to the state's attorney. End this. And Mitchell? You were right. Trust is a gift, but so is justice. I called the state's attorney that afternoon. Derek was arrested in Nevada 6 weeks later. Extradited back for trial on new charges: attempted murder, conspiracy, racketeering. The evidence from the flash drive connected him to 2 deaths and multiple fraud schemes spanning a decade. The FBI got involved. Turned out Derek had been running variations of the same con across 4 states. He went away for 25 years. This time, there would be no early release. I never found out who the unknown contact was. But sometimes, late at night, I thought about them. About someone so damaged by betrayal that they'd spent years collecting evidence, watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. About how that could have been me if things had gone differently. About how thin the line was between justice and obsession. Emma graduated high school last month. Full scholarship to state, engineering program. At the ceremony, she gave a speech about resilience, about how families come in different shapes, about how the people who stay matter more than the people who leave. Lauren was there, sitting 3 rows behind me with Steve. We nodded at each other, cordial, distant. Tyler started high school in the fall, made the varsity soccer team as a freshman. Kids got talent. They're good kids, happy, well-adjusted, loved. That's what matters. I think about trust sometimes, about how easily it breaks, how hard it is to rebuild. I've dated a few times over the years. Nothing serious. Part of me is still too guarded, too aware of how completely someone can fool you. But I'm trying. Because the alternative, living in permanent suspicion, seeing betrayal in every shadow, that's letting Derek and Lauren win. That's letting them take more than they already took. So I choose to believe that most people are good. That trust is still worth giving, even knowing it might break. That's not naivety. It's survival. Last week, I got an email from an address I didn't recognize. Subject line: thank you. Inside, just 3 sentences. Derek's appeal was denied. He'll die in prison. Stephanie can rest now. No signature. I stared at it for a long time. Then I replied, I hope you find peace too. The email bounced back. Address didn't exist, but I like to think they got the message anyway. The truth is, betrayal changes you. It has to. You can't go through something like that and come out the same person. But you get to choose what it changes you into. You can become bitter, suspicious, closed off. Or you can become wiser, more careful, but still open to connection. Still willing to trust, even knowing the risk. I chose the latter. For my kids, for myself, for the life I want to build from the wreckage of the one I lost. Derek and Lauren took 9 years from me. They took my marriage, my business partnership, my sense of security. But they didn't take my ability to love, my ability to trust, my ability to believe that tomorrow can be better than today. That's the real victory. Not the court cases or the settlements or watching them lose. It's waking up every morning and choosing hope over cynicism, connection over isolation, trust over fear. Because in the end, the people who betray us don't get to decide who we become. We do. And I choose to be someone my kids can be proud of. Someone who got knocked down and got back up. Someone who learned that the opposite of betrayal isn't revenge. It's integrity. Living with integrity, even when others don't, especially when others don't. That's how you win. That's how you survive. That's how you build something better from the ashes of what was destroyed. Emma's off to college in the fall. Tyler's talking about architecture school. They're building their own lives, making their own choices, learning their own lessons. And I'm here, still standing, still building, still believing that the best parts of life, love, trust, connection, are worth the risk of losing them. Because a life without risk is just existing. And I didn't survive all this just to exist. I survived to live.